Hello everybody, Phobos here. Welcome to episode 20. Seriously? Episode 20? We made it that far? That is amazing. So anyway, welcome to episode 20 of our Let's Play series here on the KubiKraft server. Today we are actually going to be starting off by testing out our little crafting station here. I haven't really had a chance to give it a proper test in actual real life circumstances, so today is going to be the day. You know what? This thing actually isn't too terrible. As you can see, we're about to just throw in a bunch of glowstone dust. We're going to be making up some lanterns. And actually, I don't want that many lanterns. Anyway, so what we're going to do is just simply push this button here. Bam, both those get thrown out. We just grab a bunch of this here, and we can, of course, craft up everything. Nice and quick like. Nice and quick like. Early in the morning, guys, so. Da, 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 da. There we go. And, of course, we just toss everything into this box here. So yeah, that's not too bad. We'll grab the rest of this here, break that, and grab ourselves a new box. Bam. This thing actually works fairly decently. So yeah, not bad. So all this crafting here is actually going to be quite necessary for today's project. And let me tell you, I am really excited for this one. We are finally going to take a look at the lookout, and we're going to put in some purple blocks and just make it all nice and pretty and functional and all that fun stuff. Move the fish farm, everything like that. And that's actually why we were making up the glowstone here, because we're going to need a lot of sea lanterns, and we're going to be, you know, making a bit of an exchange with Step and a Half in just a moment. So yeah, if all goes well, we should wind up with a shulker box full of sea lanterns, which will be pretty fantastic. So guys, just giving Step and a Half a tour here. He's pretty impressed with the farm so far. And yeah, if you hear any background noise, actually my roof is being replaced right now. So the roofers are, well, going to be a little bit loud. But yeah, we can just get this exchange over with, and I'll continue giving Step and a Half the tour. So, I throw my box. And he likes it. That's fantastic. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. That is fantastic. Thank you very much, Step and a Half. Thank you, thank you. Well guys, we're in the creative version of our world right now because, well, I had to reshoot some of the footage because it just kind of vanished. And that was weird. And then the server was offline. So yeah, this will have to do. But anyway, long story short, what we're looking at now is doing a little bit of resource gathering, and we're going to need a lot of concrete, a lot of glass, some resources from the end, but yeah, the main thing that we're really short on right now is sand. Maybe gravel, I'll have to check, but yeah, sand. So I'm thinking, since we actually do have some questions that have come up in the comments section, we might as well do our first Q&A session while we're mining out the sand. So with that, I say, let's begin. So slight correction, guys. We're not going to do a Q&A just because we don't really get enough questions on this channel. Hopefully, though, once I do launch a Twitter account and possibly some other social media, we'll get more questions coming in. But for now, we're just going to stick to one a day. So our question for today is from Rusty Bell, who asked about my hobbies outside of Minecraft. Now, the main hobby that I tend to be involved with is Dungeons and Dragons. So basically, we have a group that meets once a week, and then we go out on adventures, and it's just a theater of the mind, basically, right? So for those who aren't familiar with it anyway, my character that I've created is an absolute beast. He is 7'7", 300 pounds of just pure muscle, and basically the way that I have him set up is he can actually shapeshift into a bear, but he's mostly a barbarian. So I incorporated some druid for those who know how the game works. But anyway, so yeah, he can shapeshift into a bear, and once he gets the wind knocked out of him as a bear, he actually has full health bar as a barbarian. Like it's pretty crazy. The campaign that we're actually going on right now involves a lot of undead. We're actually heading out to clean a nest of undead right now, which is pretty fantastic. I spent our last session trying to clear out a cavern with my big meefy, wow, there's a word, my big beefy character, so moving ridiculous boulders because I can lift 1,000 pounds and all this other stuff, right? So it doesn't, to people who don't play, it doesn't sound like fun, but honestly, we had a blast just doing that for most of the evenings. So And of course, you know, we accidentally almost lit ourselves on fire, and almost got killed a couple times, and just stuff like that. So yeah, lots of fun. I also enjoy playing the guitar. Haven't had a chance to do that in quite a while. Carpentry, tinkering with electronics, things like that as well. Usually for me, I just don't have the time or the money, so I kind of stick to Minecraft and Minecraft videos. But yeah, with that, that would be our question for the day, and we'll head back to the KubiKraft server now. Well, guys, I would say that our resource gathering mission has gone quite well. Let's check out what we got. So, of course, we stepped in with our mining session and picked up 9 shulker boxes worth of stand. I'm actually not sure where those couple of stacks went, though. That was a little bit weird, but yeah, basically 9 shulker boxes worth of sand, which means we're going to be good for a while. We already had gravel. Otherwise, we would have gone out and collected that as well. So I was pretty happy that I found that. Saves a trip to the bottom of the ocean. We already had a big box of glass, so that's going to come in handy. This here we're actually going to be throwing into the smelter in just a moment to turn into a bunch of blocks. Our sea lanterns, of course, thanks to Step and a Half. And of course the purper that we made a long time ago and never actually got around to using. And then on top of that, we also have some what's going to become magenta dye anyway, these banners and the end rod. So yeah, I say at this point it's probably a great time to finally get started on the lookout, and yeah, having something nice to kind of come in on, because you know the lookout as it is fine, it's okay, does the job. But we want more, we want better, and we're going to get it, and it's going to be amazing. Well, guys, we are back on the lookout, and we're definitely going to have to get started on this pretty soon. I have with me a box of magenta concrete that we just spent some time mixing up. So basically what I'm thinking is we can talk about the thought process behind what we're doing with this place. We'll do a quick little flyby, just in case people hadn't seen previous episodes or what have you. So this here is the basic shape of what we're working with. And there's supposed to be a beacon beam going through the center here. Wonder what happened to it. There shouldn't be. There we go. There we go. So it kind of looks like it's sitting on a pole. We'll just back up a little bit here. The whole thing is kind of on a pole, and we're probably going to color that at some point. But there's a huge area in the middle as well that I'm actually thinking is where we're going to start, because it's nice to have this top platform here, but it'd be nice also if we were able to get some use out of the middle. So yeah, basically we're just going to pop down here, and what I'm thinking is we should have a giant floor going across this whole thing with kind of an equipment room down here, and I'll show you where the equipment room comes in a bit. But basically, let's see here. This is a little bit different when, like, I had done everything in creative mode before. Hold on a sec. And yeah, there we go. That's better. That's better. Probably going to hang on to that. So basically, what we're looking at here is just kind of punching out these walls here, and that's going to be where the doors are for coming into our build. And we're going to do that on all 4 sides here, which means that we're going to have some way of connecting them, having something on the outside to walk on, all that fun stuff. So what I'm thinking is we should actually start off by making our floor. Alright guys, our floor is definitely starting to take shape. Not done yet, but I just wanted to kind of showcase something before I wrapped it up. So you notice here that along the edge, I've kind of gone and colored the wall a bit as well. Basically what's happening there is I'm getting ready to throw in our stained glass, because what I'm actually thinking of doing to make our floor spawn proof is basically to have stained glass like this. Now you can see that when you look through it, you can actually see those walls right there, and if you weren't to actually prepare the wall that way, you'd be looking at something a little bit more like this, right? So that's not quite what we were going for, which basically means that we're going to have to do a little bit of extra prep work. So yeah, it's not that big of a deal. It's just little things like, for example, walls like this. We have to punch that out, replace it. And something like this, you'll notice that there's nothing connecting it above. Like even if we were to say, knock this out, do we actually even need those? That's a negatory. So yeah, basically going yeah, with some yeah, and some yeah, like that. So if we were to kind of, and even if we replace this, let's actually go ahead and replace that, right? Basically what we're looking at is we go in, we throw down our glass, and then we wind up with a section that's actually not even spawn proof, right? So that's the gist of what we're doing here, and it's going to look amazing once it's done. And this is what it looks like with all the glass in. Now, I must say that I'm a huge fan of this little mystical look that it has. And I know that once we actually go to put in the lighting, that's actually going to fade a little bit. It won't look quite as mystical, but for the time being, this is pretty epic. It's one of the things that I love most about this build, actually, is this floor. Now, that being said, there is one side effect actually to having everything like that. Remember how I had to punch out the walls? Well, I'll show you what it looks like from the outside. So we're just going to take a quick little fly down here. And of course it puts a nice little magenta ring along the entire outside. Now that's actually not a problem because we're actually going to use that to give a little bit of contrast to the build later on. But yeah, for now, it actually, now that I think about it, I've never even really seen it because I was building everything in creative mode, right? So it had a lot more liberty. That actually looks kind of cool, just the way that it is. Now you guys might be wondering why I went with magenta over, say, another type of purple or something like that. And that was a complete failure to land in the hole at, okay, I can't fly. Farms over there, holes over here, perfect. So that being said, I tried it originally with purple and like purple glass, purple concrete, all that fun stuff, and I just found it didn't quite. It was too dark. I don't know how else to describe it. It was too dark. And this here I just found out of the nice little pop of color that went well with the purple that we're going to be putting in next. So, well, I shouldn't say next because we're going to be working on lighting, and we'll take care of that right about now. And see what I mean, guys, about the lighting, how it makes the floor seem a little bit less mystical? Oh well, that's okay. This here is still a nice spawn-proof floor that is going to definitely meet our needs, and I really like the way that the purple can complement the sea lanterns for working in the ceiling here. Now, you guys might have noticed this guy right in the middle here and the hopper in the floor, and this is just because that's where the new fish farm is going to go, and we'll get to that in just a minute. Let's see, next thing that we should be taking a look at is cleaning up these walls, because as you can see, they're not exactly looking that spectacular. And it doesn't take a whole lot to clean them up. Basically what the plan is we're going to be filling in this section here, and we'll keep the first couple rows of this because they do make it interesting, but everything else, well, okay, sorry, this and this, but everything else, it's not quite interesting enough to justify keeping, so we're just going to kind of clean it up a little bit, and yeah, just make the whole place look a little bit more round and a little less bowl-like. So yeah, we'll come back with that in just a second. There we go, that cleans it up just a little bit. Now, pretty soon we are going to be throwing in proper entrance and whatnot, which is going to add a little bit more lighting over here. But even as it stands, these guys here have a light level of 8, which is just enough to keep anything from spawning, which is pretty fantastic. So, the next thing I'm thinking is that we should probably get the fish farm sorted out. Yeah, and then we'll work on the mechanicals and all that fun stuff, and then we'll move on to the outer ring, because that's going to be quite the grind, and I'm just not up for that kind of a grind right now. So we'll do the fish farm first, and then we'll get to everything else. So just for a little bit of contrast, guys, this here is the old fish farm. Now I'm sure that, I know for a fact that I've shown this off in a previous video, and Mark II is over here, the one that just never actually functioned. But anyway, so yeah, this here is what we used to have, and this is what we have now. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's a slight upgrade, just a slight upgrade. So yeah, basically, mechanically, it's the exact same farm that we had before, but took a little bit of time to spiff it up and give a proper little storage area, just if we need to dump our valuables or what have you. But yeah, and this here, this was actually contributed by Sleuth. I'm very, very, very happy with the way that it turned out. I mean, just look at this thing. It's so beautiful. because I sat there staring, like I used to have that all as just white concrete at one point, and I couldn't for the life of me think of what to do with it, and that's just perfect, right? With the nice little accent glass and lighting and all that fun stuff. I'm very happy with the way that this thing turned out as a whole. Now, the cool part is, or at least a cool part with it, is in the equipment room here. Now, we're going to double check that nothing is spawning down here. Nothing should because of all the torch spam, and we're fine. So yeah, and I ran out of purple glass, but we're not really going to be down here very much. The whole idea is that as we fish, everything comes in. And for those who didn't know, hoppers are one of the few blocks that this beam can actually pass through. So that kind of worked out. But yeah, basically, fish farm goes into action and everything comes down these hoppers into this dropper here. And I have this set up in such a way that no matter what, if there's even one item in here, this is going to fire off and get rid of it. So do we have any blocks or whatever? We'll use that one. That's fine. So basically, the second that we do anything, we have lots of redstone dust now, so who cares? That's going to fire off, and you see that rapid pulse, and you see everything just getting shot out over there. This here is all just heading straight down to the surface, and yeah, eventually we're going to have our storage system down there, so that's going to be pretty epic. It's just going to fall straight into the storage system, and we're not really going to have to worry too much, which I'm pretty excited for. So the next thing we're going to be working on is kind of a combination of the door frame here as well as the area outside the door frame, which is of course going to be the outer ring that allows us to, well, it's like our walkway, right? So that's how we get from the roof to here and all that fun stuff. And yeah, not looking forward to it, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. You know, all in all, I'd have to say that this is going a lot smoother than I thought it would. I've actually already got a quarter section of it done, or at least the base layer. There's a lot of complexity to what we're about to do here, but yeah, basically what I've done is I've just taken a couple of spikes out from all the doors so that we know when we're lining up, and yeah, we just basically go out 5, like yeah, and then in one to give us a place to put the next 3, and so on. So 3 more, on and on and on, and yeah, it's just a matter of following a basically I'm using the plots shape maker, I guess, to actually follow the pattern and all that. And once you got the swing of placing the blocks, you know, while pressing shift click so that you don't fall off, because I'm actually pressing and holding the arrow key right now, and I'm not falling off because I'm pressing shift, so that's pretty fantastic. And yeah, just basically heading all the way around. We're going to connect up with that, and yeah, I'll come back with a little bit more of an update. I've been told that I make making circles look pretty easy, but as you can see, I make my fair share of mistakes as well. I was sitting here going, okay, and one more block, and I should be right on, oh. So yeah, let's just get this fixed up. Alright, this thing's starting to take shape, just a little bit. This here is just the bottom section. We're actually going to make the whole thing a bit thicker, and we're going to include some detailing, which we'll get into right now. I haven't exactly worked out how we're going to do this part in survival. It's going to be interesting, probably a lot of placing temporary blocks and all that fun stuff. But yeah, basically the whole thing at some point is actually going to come out up here, and right now it's just a matter of putting in the detailing like I was saying. So yeah, let's give that a go. So this here is the type of detailing that I was thinking for the for this part here, whatever we want to call this, the ledge, I suppose. Ledge would be a good word. Yeah, that kind of detailing right there. So where we have the little bit of pattern there, but with the stair blocks to add a little bit of texture. Yeah, for the most part, it seems to work pretty well. If we do a quick little flyby here. It's hard to actually get to do it justice, but yeah, just trust me on this one. It does wind up looking amazing once all said and done. And yeah, what I can do is address a question that somebody had actually asked me. I was asked, how exactly is it that I planned on doing this? Because this, well, it was actually Sleuth had a chance to see the creative version of this, and basically what it boils down to is well, of course, getting the proper base here, but just kind of throwing in that part there, Yep. A little bit of that. A little bit of that. And basically wash, rinse, and repeat. So yeah, that's the gist of how all of that got put in. So yeah, I'm just going to go and bang this out, and we'll move on to the next part. So this is our walkway finally completed. Pretty happy with the fact that I was able to actually pull it off in survival. I was a little concerned about that, but yeah. Quick little flyby here shows that there's some interesting detail along the edges, and yeah, basically we're able to just kind of get all the way around on here. So basic walkway stuff. There was a ladder that I'd thrown up just to get up and down, but we're actually going to find a better way of doing that in the near future. First things first though, we need to spiff up the doors on either side. So we're going to take care of that in just a moment. You'll notice that it's a little bit darker in here as well. This here is just, I'm kind of playing around with the lighting because I wasn't too happy with what I came up with before. That there, I like visually. That works for me. It's not cluttered with lighting, but the only downside is that over here, we actually wind up with a light level of 5, light level of 6, that kind of thing. So what I decided was to actually throw some carpet down. And as you can see, I've actually stood AFK for quite a while here up on top, just so that I wouldn't actually get attacked. And nothing has spawned here, even though there's basically no light. So pretty happy with the way that's turning out. So yeah, next step is going to be taking care of the edges here. And then, yeah, probably do some detailing up top. So yeah, let's get started on that. So this, guys, is the design that I've decided to go with for the doors. And overall, I'm pretty happy with it. I use a nice little variety of the different purple blocks to add some depth and contrast and all that fun stuff, which I think is pretty good. And we were able to mirror it for the most part on the outside. Actually, we had a little bit more creative liberty for working depth-wise this way as well. So very happy with the way that it turned out as a whole. Now, in terms of how I actually went about doing that, that's pretty straightforward. There's a couple different layers to it though. Like basically just had to punch out these guys right here first. Like so, and then throwing in a couple of them. I believe it was a couple of them up. Not quite like that. A couple of them up there. Bam, bam, like that. Mirrored on the other side. With some stairs going in like this. And bam. So just creating like kind of a basic archway. I was tempted to leave it like that. But it just, I don't know, it didn't quite feel complete to me. So what I did after that was I threw in a temporary block there. Just to kind of get those blocks angled correctly for the pattern, because if you don't do that, it kind of messes it up. Stairs there, slab there, stairs there, just to kind of complete that. And of course, mirrored on the other side as well. So stair, slab, stair, and yeah, it basically finishes it off, except for, of course, not you, nope, that, there. Okay, thank you. And like that. We just basically did the exact same thing on the other side. It creates this really nice archway like this. So I'm just going to go ahead and repeat that on all the sides. And of course, fill in these corners here a little bit. Now that I've tested the mob-proofing abilities of carpet. Yeah, we'll just get this finished up. And then I believe we're actually good to go for working on the surface finally. So that'll be kind of cool. Actually, you know what, guys? I figured it out. That looks pretty nice. So this place is really starting to take shape now that we're getting the doors in and whatnot. And I kind of like that having a little bit less light over here makes the floor seem just that little bit more mystical, just having the different shades and all that. Well, so yeah, all in all, I'm pretty happy with this. Now, we should definitely start working on the top now. We're basically done all of this here, but then the question becomes, how are we going to get up and down? Like honestly, I had a ladder set up for a little bit, but that just doesn't go with the color palette. I'll show you what I actually came up with. And we just got to get to the right door. Any second now. Okay, so this here is actually what I've come up with. So we have a couple of talking dragons right now. And got that all set up just by having a lever with a trapdoor on the back here. Now, the cool part is you'll notice that we have our jump boost on. We can actually just jump right up here. Using the dragon head. So it'll give us a place that we can actually put these that kind of makes sense a little bit, because I've always struggled with, where exactly we should put these things, right? So yeah, Now, the only tricky part is I know I've been collecting them. I know we should have enough, and I can only find 2. I don't understand. So I'm gonna have to track those down. But yeah, for now at least we do have one side where we can jump up and down and actually start to work on the top, which is what we're gonna do next. Found 2 more, guys. 2 more. So we just have 4 more to go. Yeah, 4 more to go. So I came down to the drop shop to see if I had my dragon heads laying around because, well, I have a backup merchandise chest and all that fun stuff. Anyway, long story short, we made 10 diamonds. Sold some elytra. Yes! Pretty happy about that. And we got the dragon heads. That's the important part. You know, guys, one of my favorite things about this build is that it's actually nice and bright at night as well. So I don't actually have to worry about recording at specific times of day or anything like that, just because, you know what? It still looks great. If anything, having the white and purple on the black background just makes it pop that much more. So yeah, long story short though, we have found all the dragon heads. So all of them have these talking dragon head ladders on them, and I'm pretty happy about that. I was a little bit surprised when I couldn't find them because I knew that I'd gotten quite a bit. Turned out I had almost 30 sitting at the drop shop. I was just kind of thinking of maybe selling them or something like that. But anyway, now we can get started on the top since we can actually get to the top. Now, for here, I'm actually going to be setting up some trees as just some nice contrasting colors and all that fun stuff. And you'll notice that I have slime blocks. The reason for that is because I'd actually started off with grass. But look at that green. That is not a good green. And then you notice that it actually cuts off the light source as well. So what I actually did after, racking my brain for a little while, and I might as well do a full setup here just to really contrast it. So say something like nya with a little bit of nya. So what we're shooting for is, if it'll work, okay. What we're shooting for is something like this. And I'll just zip through and do a full comparison in just a second. So here it is for comparison. Now, because we're actually in a desert, grass shows up as being kind of dead looking. I actually ran into an issue with other types of leaves as well, because it originally started off with oak, I believe it was, because I prefer the pattern on them, but they appeared kind of brown and dead as well. So I went with the spruce leaves as a type of bush, and I find it looks a little bit more bush-like anyway, so that's kind of nice. But you'll notice here that if I didn't tell you that these were slime blocks, right, just that extra pop of color contrasting with the purple and the white, I think looks amazing compared to the dead grass of this grass that's dead. So yeah, basically, and then this over here, it actually winds up cutting off the light source, whereas this does not. This allows the sea lanterns to actually illuminate the top part here and make everything just really nice. So I decided to go with slime blocks for that reason, and yeah, I think it looks pretty good. So I'm just going to finish up these 4 things, and then we're going to get to the piece de resistance, which is the center part here, finally going to kind of mask that final part of the beam. So yeah, we're definitely making some good progress here. Well, guys, I have yammered on about this place long enough, but can you really blame me? I mean, look at this place. It's spectacular. It's probably the best thing that I've ever built in Minecraft, and I'm pretty proud of myself. But that doesn't change the fact that we are out of time for today. So if you like what you saw here, definitely hit that like button. And of course, if you want to see more episodes, then make sure to subscribe, hit that notify button, all that fun stuff. It's not your first episode, you guys know what to do. But yeah, with that being said, this is Phobos signing off. Enjoy.